It's good. It was a good day. We're learning as we go. Guys' spirits are high, and we're playing fast. I think we're practicing the right way for the most part, and we're just getting after it. But it was a good day of practice, kind of back and forth in terms of execution. But we're chasing it. So onward we go.
There was a lot of communication. There was a lot of energy. How would you rate kind of where they are with install and with retaining what you have already presented to them?
It's a challenge right now. We're still installing. We're going to be installing defensively. Throughout. I mean, install 2 is today, and we'll evaluate it as we go. So if the guys we're a little slow to make some checks today, anticipating things, so we'll make some decisions so it doesn't pile on, so we don't get too far behind. But not really worried about the pace of how fast we get everything in. We want a really good foundation for when we get into camp. So we have a schedule, but we'll adjust as we go.
How much is in so far, Mike?
Today was installed 2, so 20%.
Thoughts on going with the game jerseys out there instead of practice jerseys? The philosophy behind that?
Well, it's something that they did in Baltimore, and the thinking behind it is we're trying to make practice as much as like a game as possible. So how we dress, all the details, where we stand, how we operate, how we coach them up, timing-wise. Like we want the guys feeling like they're out there playing. So that's kind of part of the equation.
How much time do you have to spend on the new kickoff stuff?
I mean, I wish I had the correct answer. We just stop. Maybe it was like 3 hours. We just get to the 3 hours and stop. It's an ongoing thing. The rules have been evolving throughout, so it's something that we're trying to stay with it and be a lot of I don't want to say like experimentation, but that's kind of what it is what works in terms of alignments and how we can play with things and who can block what and the schemes. And it'll be interesting to see because we're not sharing secrets on how we're going to operate, and we'll have to adopt when the league starts to declare early in the season.
Mike, in a similar regard, how much room do you think there is for innovation within the rules there for teams to try different things and different concepts, different ideas about how to approach
with the kickoff?
Yeah.
Hopefully a lot. Hopefully it's going to be a really fun football play, and I think that's the whole spirit behind what everybody was trying to do. And I think for the most part, we got a really good chance to make it a really exciting play. So that's the way we see it.
Are you seeing the rookies kind of acclimate with the veterans now they're all here together working?
Yeah, it's just going to take some time, just how to operate. Our vets have been great, like leading the guys and showing them routines and keeping the competition high, but bringing them along. We want to respect everybody, and the rookies have to do their part as well to respect those guys that have kind of laid the foundation in front of them. So we got a great group. Yeah, really excited that guys are working well together.
In terms of continuity, you guys have all the edge guys back from last year. What are your early thoughts on seeing a healthy Uchenna Nwosu out there, Boye Mafe, and Daryl Taylor, and all those players?
It's great to see him out there and working, communicating. We're working through how we're going to structure our pass rush and who's playing what spot and kind of what shakes down and what makes sense and what hits and all those things. So, this is a great time of year to sharpen the sword, so to speak, and kind of understand, build the foundation, kind of build a platform to jumping off point for when we come back in the fall. And then even when that happens, you're going to constantly evolve of where you're going to put guys and how you're going to interact and what groups you can put out there. And if you're not doing that, you get static and you kind of become, offenses kind of get a beat for what you're doing. So you got to keep it moving.
How about you personally? You joked about not talking this much, but now that you've got more practices under your belt, where have you seen a change in how you approach it or your comfort level?
Yeah, well, you're having interactions with guys, and that kind of gives you a feel for how guys tick, and what types of conversations you want with who. So, again, it's a process, and it takes time, and there's no magic wand you can just wave, and everybody just gets along, and there's all this mutual understanding about how we're going to operate. We're just like chasing the mutual understanding of what kind of football team we want to be, and it's just this constant chase of what we want. Spoon knows, He's like, well, a couple conversations with Mike. But, yeah, that's what we're shooting for. And today was a great testament of it about, how we're going to operate as a team.
Mike, you were asked a lot about Smith this offseason before you've really been around him a ton. Just now that you've been around him a couple of months, you've seen him on the field. What have been your impressions of Geno?
He's highly competitive. I love how Geno works. We're pushing him to take the next step as a football player and as a leader. And I think he's answering the call. So really excited about Geno up to this point, just getting to know him, but just really such a respect for how hard this man works at his craft.
How's Sam Howell coming along?
I mean, I think he's coming along fine. It's again, we're practice too. It's funny. You sit in the offensive staff watching practice with guys, and there's things that offensive coaches notice with the whole team, that you don't necessarily see from like the defensive perspective. So, but I thought he had a really good practice, and he's slinging it. But just like the rest of the team, I mean, he's got a lot of work on. I got a lot to work on. It's just, but I think we all have that mentality of how we want to approach it. So I think Sam's right there. I think it's an exciting future.
The pace of how you are hoping to install things, is it drastically different than last year in Baltimore or the year before at Michigan? Is it kind of
Yeah, each situation is unique. I mean, Michigan, we took it really, really slow. What we were trying to do was very foreign to the guys. It took a long time, and we took our time, and that's okay. But we're chasing execution. At Baltimore, the first year was similar more to Michigan than you'd anticipate. The second year, they had a pretty good baseline, so we were able to get along with a good clip. So I think if you go in with an open mind of, hey, let's do what makes sense for this group, I think that's where you end up in the right spot.
With your linebacker coaching background, not having contact right now, rookie like Tyrese Knight, some of the other undrafted guys out there, what do you think are the most important things to see progression-wise at that position before you get into training camp?
Yeah, I think it's. I hate to keep making these blanket statements, but it really is the whole defense and really the whole team. I mean, you're looking at communication in and out of the huddle, pre and post snap, alignments, how fast they're reacting, able to execute your technique without having to go like combative against the next guy across you. In the run game, it gets kind of tough because the runner's going to run through the defense, and it seems when you go back and watch it on tape, you're like, oh, there's a guy right there. We would have made the play. And, those are some assumptions you have to make until you put the pads on for real. And that's okay, but that's where we're at. But those are the things you're looking for.
What have you learned in the last month, or maybe the last 2 days, about how to run a practice, how you want to do it?
Well, I think we had a pretty clear vision about how we wanted practice to go. I mean, we want it to be fast. We want to execute. We want to be loud. We want to get the job done. And we want to get the heck out of here. So there's not a lot of lollygagging around. But to make it, again, you don't practice to practice. You're practicing to train to go play the game. So a lot of the decisions that we're making are, inspired by that kind of principle behind the whole thing.
Where is Abe Lucas in his recovery?
It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell. I mean, we're shooting for camp right now. So, but yeah, Abe's getting after it in rehab. So I'm proud of his effort that he's putting in.
We didn't see Anthony Bradford out there today. Is this something wrong?
Yeah, he tweaked his ankle yesterday. It shouldn't be long.
Mike, what have you learned about your coordinators, getting to work with them a little bit here over the last month or so, since they're new to you as well? We're in a great spot. I think we hired two great people, two really good football coaches, working more hand in hand with AD on a daily basis, just getting the defense organized and installing and things like that. But really excited about AD, the connection he's been able to make with the defense, how he orchestrates the front. We've been able to bounce a lot of ideas off one another, so that's been really fun. And then Grubb, I mean, he's talking about a really detail-oriented guy, knows exactly what he's looking for. He's very precise. We talk about it as a team, we're always like, we want clarity in everything we're doing. We want the guys to know exactly what the expectations are, exactly what they're, what's being asked of them, and he has that. He's a very clear communicator for sure. Is the goal to have the install done by the end of minicamp?
No. Baseline. Yeah, we're chasing the baseline, base fundamentals. You'll see it's not a huge install. It's concepts. So we'll get the base concepts in, and then we'll go from there.
Getting the horse ahead of the cart a little bit here, but you guys are playing your former mentor Jim Harbaugh in the first preseason game. Do you have interest in maybe doing some joint practices with him down the line?
Down the line, maybe, but this year we're not going to. But it'll be fun to see those guys and see Jesse and some of the other coaches that we're familiar with. But it'll be fun to go down there and get after it a little bit.
Mike, when you have clarity from the coaches and to the players, what does that enable you?
I'm sorry,
when
you
you have
repeat
the clarity in terms of the players, you just said the coaches are clear.
Yeah.
And you're making that clear with the players.
Well, it lets you play the right way. If I know exactly what's expected of me, how I'm supposed to do it, now I can go play the way we want. On both sides of the ball. So if it's out there and it's gray, that slows you down. You just come and put yourself in those positions of those guys out there, and where do you stand? What do you look at? How do you move? all those types of things. I mean, that's why it takes so much time. And that's what differentiates good teams from great teams. He asked that already, but that's okay. But it's to simulate the game as much as we can as baseline.
Terrell Dotson and Jerome Baker, we didn't really see them out there today. Are they okay? Or?
Yeah, T-Dot's out there, but he's limited, and Bake's in the in-house, but he's rehabbing right now.
You talk about making it as game-like as possible in every possible way. Was that something that you took mostly from Baltimore, or are there other stops along the way where that was kind of drilled into you?
That was mostly from John, and just makes sense. I mean, we're not going to practice great. We're practicing to go out there and play games in a game-like scenario. So.
Reek Woolen, just in general, what have you kind of seen out of him? This time last year, he had just had knee surgery, and it kind of, he missed this whole time last year. So.
Yeah, I think Tariq's in a great spot. I think he's in a great spot. We had a great conversation today. Expected big things from him, So just like everyone else on the defense and on the rest of the team, we're going to be pushing them because there's greatness in there.
That position group in general, is that one you're pretty excited about with both the guys come back and then you add a couple of corners in the draft?
Yeah, very. I mean, we're really excited about our secondary, and I think there's some flexibility there. We can get to some personnel groups where guys moving around, play matchup ball a little bit, but I think they're in a good spot. And again, I mean, we'll see. It's just kind of the guys had a great 2 days we've stacked, and let's go back to work. Have another great OTA tomorrow, and then see where we're at, kind of going to the next day. So one day at a time.
What do you like about Witherspoon inside?
I mean, where do I start? I mean. Great feel for the game. I mean, just he picks things up really quick, but just understands ball and plays at a really, really fast speed. But when at nickel, there's a lot of action in there, and so when guys have that type of skill set, you can kind of get them around the action as much as possible. So he'll do all the things. He'll blitz, man, zone, play deep area of the field. So it's a fun position to play.
Rayshon Jenkins, what have you seen out of him so far?
I mean, the things we anticipated off of tape and off of reputation and kind of doing our homework, but he's going to be a leader on this football team, so we're going to count on him. And he's very talented. He's a guy that we can play matchup with, and he can again, he can do all the things we ask from a safety in our system. So off to a great start, and we expect a big year from him.
Anything else?
All right, thanks guys.
Thank you, sir.